You are watching the Global Gamers Invitational Tournament brought to you by iFixit. SCVs for the real world. The Handsome Nerd attire for the handsomest of nerds. And Esports United, sponsored by Intel. This broadcast is also made possible by IC Cup TV, TeamLiquid.net, and of course, Blizzard Entertainment. Hello everyone and welcome back to the Global Gamers Invitational. This is Mac. I am here with Railcoon, and IC Cup TV is proud to bring you this best of 5 series between Softball, who is actually Sen, our red Zerg, and Strelok, our blue Terran. So this should be a very, very exciting match. I know that there were some polls conducted on TeamLiquid.net, and it was like 90% in favor of Sen winning the series. So we do have a very, very pronounced favorite. So you think we'll see another 3-0 series in this one, Railgun?
I don't think so. Sen is going to be a big favorite just because of the fact that he streams on Team Liquid a decent amount. And there was a point in which there were like no Zerg streamers and Sen was on every day. So he's really popular in Team Liquid, and Strelok is a really good Terran. So I'm expecting / hoping for a series that won't be another 3-0. Because I do believe this should be a good series between these two players.
Well, before we move on with that series, I do want to once again thank the sponsors for this tournament. They are, of course, iFixit, SCVs for the real world, and Esports United, who has, through Intel, provided us with several Intel processors for the top 3 finalists, and, of course, the Handsome Nerd attire for the handsomest of nerds. So far, we are on Metalopolis, seeing what, and I know everyone hates this word, a very standard build from both players. Strelok is opting to wall off with supply depots. Not seeing many problems with this lately. Baneling busts really have gone out of fashion so far, don't you think?
Yeah. Players have gotten really good at fighting the Baneling busts, so you don't see them too much more often, which gives them a little bit more of a danger feel, because at that point when Tamago was really big and everybody was Baneling busting and every Terran was really playing against the Baneling bust and really afraid of it, they didn't work so well. But if you look like standard openings from Terran players, they're not quite as much preparing for them as much as they used to. There are some builds that are just going to perform stronger against it, like a Reactor Hellion opening, if you get it out quickly, will do a little bit better job of fighting it. But since the Terrans aren't opening up with, oh my god, I gotta make sure I don't get busted, you do see the opportunity every once in a while for a player to still go for it.
Now, of course, we are seeing that Sen has opted for the fast expansion. I believe it's Hatchery before a spawning pool. And, like I said, very, very standard. What we're used to seeing, he's grabbing the gas to make sure that Strelok can't go for that Banshee opening or fast dropships. He instead is going to be forced to rely on just Hellions for the time being. So I imagine we're going to see what we're so used to seeing right now, which is early Hellion harass on the expansion. Very easy to do in Metalopolis because that open natural expansion. And then a follow-up into Marines and Mech. And then Sen has the option of going Heavy Roach or, I guess what is it, Zergling Baneling with Mutalisks.
Yeah, except Strelok actually just dropped a command center, still on 1 barracks, going to drop the factory after the command center, and is getting a tech lab instead of a reactor. So he's going for a fast expand into possibly marine tank, like a siege expand type deal here. On a wide open map like this, if that's indeed what he's going for, this can be really difficult because of the nerfs to siege tanks. They don't do very well against masses of light units, and you just have to sit waiting for that critical mass of tanks for longer, which just gives Sen a lot of map control. And with a really good Zerg player like Sen, he knows how to really abuse that. You'll be giving up a lot of the map if he is going for a siege expand here, and just make it really tough on yourself in the mid game.
We see that the barracks and the factory are switching in Strelok's base, so he is indeed going for that reactor Hellion opening, wants to get those Zerglings the heck out of there and stop scouting and put some pressure on that Zerg expansion, see if he can't take out a few drones. So far, what you see Sen is right now getting that lair. No other tech so far, so both players sort of standing back, not being aggressive in the least. And I imagine this, as you said, this expansion almost certainly going to the natural. I can't imagine Strelok's going to try and float and be sneaky, especially given that Overlord positioning. So I can see that the big threat here for Strelok, if he's unsuccessful with the Hellion push, is going to be the openness of this expansion. You see, he is throwing down a bunker right now and quite often it's hard to get enough bunker coverage because there's that back side behind the geysers. You can really run in units and do a ton of damage to the SCVs without having to engage the bunker. So I can see that being a dynamic later on in this match.
Yeah, and he is going for that Infernal Pre-Igniter instead of getting tanks out on the field just yet, which is going to work much better in his favor, dropping the Starport and going for a Medevac. So we are going to see a Pre-Igniter drop, and these can be really dangerous against Zerg players. They do have their Queens, which can help minimize some of the damage, but the drones, if you control them just right, they will melt so quickly. The positioning on Hellions with these sorts of drops is like the most important thing. Just controlling the angle of their shot to hit the most drones as possible. You can kill so many before you're forced out. So he is, well, he's flying his Medevac over there, but he hasn't loaded it up yet. He just ran his Hellions away. Okay, there we go. He's going to get the Hellions into the Medevac. We'll have to see how successful this is, but if he controls this really well, we should see a lot of drone carnage here.
Not very good vision for Sen rather of this Medevac, so this is a surprise attack. He's only now moving those Lings in. And you see so far, lots of Lings being burned. That Pre-Igniter really showing its strength, but notice that it's the Medevac being focused down by the Queens right now. So the Hellions still looking very strong, but that Medevac goes down, the Hellions are cut off.
Yeah, but the Hellions really haven't taken much damage. This is a great placement by the spawning pool. It means that these Hellions can't just infinitely dance around behind his mineral lines. Once they do move into that little corner, they're trapped, so he doesn't want to stay there too much longer. He did get a couple of drones there, but not as many as you might expect. There are now roaches out on the field as well, so these are going to get cleaned up, but he lost a ton of Zerglings and about 5 or 6 drones. So that definitely paid for itself.
I think that it would be wrong to suggest that was a failure because not that many drones went down. A ton of Zerglings went down, and they are very useful in this counter push that Sen looks like he's about to execute. Having at his disposal, however many that was, probably 24 Zerglings would really assist him in this push if he wanted to.
Yeah, and this Viking actually denying the Overseer. Gonna take that down pretty quickly. He does manage to get a contaminate on the factory with that tank at 1 second left. Look at that right there. That is so annoying. And with these roaches pushing in, that tank would make a pretty big difference. Zerglings running in to support this, they're actually running straight up the ramp and into the main. And there you go, that's exactly what we were talking about earlier. It's hard to get good bunker coverage on this expansion because he can just walk in the back like that. Zerglings are clearing out the mineral line of the main, forcing the SVs to have to transfer down into the range of the roaches. So it's looking really bad for Strelok right now. He's just not mining at all.
It looks like this attack of Sen's is going to be pushed back. That tank does have fairly good coverage. The roaches are exploiting nicely, but while Strelok definitely in trouble here, he's not completely done. The biggest problem right now is actually the Lings inside of his base. And I don't see that stopping anytime soon, especially given that the whole pile of roaches certainly going to be on the way any moment.
Oh, and first tank goes down, second one is going to follow. He did pull back just a little bit early, but still is looking really bad for Strelok. Sen, he does have another nice force rallied up outside of his natural, and it looks like he's just going to send that in to reinforce. And once it gets here, he may be able to just force a GG here because Strelok wasn't mining for so long. He's still not mining from his main. He killed so many tanks there. There's just these 2 bunkers and 1 tank. Roaches are walking in the back again, forcing Strelok to have to unsiege. This is just looking really bad.
And you know, they're actually tied in workers. Sen only has 30 of the 29 SCVs of Strelok, but like you said, it's the not mining that's really putting him in trouble. Sen able to field a massive army, and Strelok is just struggling to catch up. This looks like the final push now. The bunkers are being engaged, and there it is. GG from Strelok. Well played by Sen. The favorite is up 1-0, which bodes ill for those of us hoping to not see another 3-0.